Now let's say we've been given a distribution here where we have same situation, dogs, and the probability that a household has a certain number of dogs, and they ask us to get the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation for the probability distribution. Now, starting from scratch in Excel, if you have X, which in this case is dogs, the probability of X, which is the percentage or probability that a certain household has that many dogs, I'm going to set up in Excel. I've got my X, my P of X. I'm going to set up another column that is X times P of X, another one that says X minus the mean, another that says X minus the mean squared, and then X minus the mean squared times the probability of X. Real easy to do if you just started out this way. In this first box under X times P of X, I'm going to type equals, and I'm going to click on that 0 there, and I'm going to put an asterisk for multiplication times P of X. So that's X times P of X. Now, I'm going to do a Control-C, or copy that cell, and I'm going to go right down below it. I'm going to paste it. I'm just going to paste everything there. Notice that those change. Then down here below, I'm going to type the word mean, just so that I'll know. And then here, I'm going to sum that column of X times P of X. So I'm going to type sum. I'm going to double click here. I want to sum those numbers up. And so I get my mean. If I wanted it rounded to say ever how many decimal places, I could round it to 2 or 3. I could right click on that and say format cells. I want to round this to, let's say, 3 decimal places. Okay, 0.683. Now, as far as the column that says X minus the mean, excuse me, I would simply come under here and I would type an equal sign, click on X, which is 0 for this first one, and I'm going to type minus. I'm going to type in the 0.683, 0.683, and if I had full accuracy, I would use as much accuracy as it would give me. And now I've got a negative 0.683, but let's copy that now and paste. Now, we have for each of these, this is 0 minus 0.683, 1 minus 0.683, 2 minus, 3 minus, 4 minus. Going to leave that column as is, then we're going to go out to the right of that. We're going to square that number, all right? So I'm going to say equals, click on that cell, and do a little shift up arrow, which is a shift 6 on my keyboard. I'm going to raise it to the second power, so I'm going to square it. There it is. I'm going to do a Control-C, copy that, paste it for the rest of them. So now I have X minus the mean squared. Out to the right of that, I am going to multiply it by the probability of X. So I'm going to say equals, whatever this number is, I click on it, times, which is an asterisk, times the probability of X out here. I'm going to click on that 0.532, say, whoop, okay. And I'm going to copy that cell, paste all the way down, because this is giving me the X minus the mean squared times the probability of X for each one of these. Then I'm going to sum these up. Equals the sum of X minus the mean squared times the probability of X. It gives me 0.844. This is my variance. Variance is, maybe over here I ought to say the mean is. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this so you can see what I've done at home. So let's see. That's my variance. The standard deviation is simply the square root of the number above it, SQRT, square root of this number Now, let's say I want to round those to 3 decimal places. Okay, format cells, number, 3 decimal places. Okay, so let's look at this again. Here is my x, my p of x. This right here, I simply summed. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. I simply summed those columns. Let's see if I can. Control C. I can hit enter and type it down here below it. Put that in quotations so you can see it. I summed that column. Then out here, this is simply A2, which was the number of dogs, minus the mean that I had typed in, 0.683. This would be A3 minus the mean. Out here, I'm simply squaring these. This column, the number here, squared, so I raised it to the 2nd power. And then I got those numbers. And then out here in column F, I simply multiplied my x minus the mean squared times the probability. So the number I got here times the probability, 0.532 for each of these. Then I summed those up. That sum is my variance. And then I took the square root of the variance, and that is my standard deviation. Is there a magic template for this? Probably, but it's one of those things that would take me a little extra to do. You can do this and understand the mathematics in Excel, and maybe I'll put together a template and add it to one of my add-ons. But it's a lengthy problem, but it's really not that hard.